Hello everybody. We're going to get started here momentarily once some of you kind of start to pour in. I'll be the first to say hi. Oh hey, hi design course, how are you doing? Let's go ahead to see if I can pronounce any of your names. I'm always terrible at that. You can say hi in the chat. Where's everybody? Oh, that's right. I didn't do like the whole scheduled stream thing, so usually I get a lot more quick comments. Emoteless, what's up? Kashal, I think that's right. Mog, what's up? Coding United, XD's, Shan, I'll call you. Ready, what's up? Yanga, Juan. Okay, okay, I'm not going to do this anymore because that's going to get annoying for everybody. All right, so today's not a normal stream. I'll describe that in a sec. I'll give maybe a minute before I go into what we're doing today, because we're not doing the regular review. I'm not reviewing any, so don't send me a super chat thinking I'm going to review your project, because I'm not. We're just going to do something different this time. Yeah, another rare Wednesday live stream. Usually I do these on Fridays. All right, I'll get to it. 100 of you are already watching, so all right. So basically, this is exciting because I've told some of you this already in the other live chats, is that I'm relaunching designcourse.com very soon. If you go there, you're going to see an ugly coming soon type. It's not styled, whatever. But the actual site has been almost all the way designed, and it's functional for the most part. So I'm hoping within the next month, maybe month and a half or two, it will go live, and I'll upload a regular video. Now, the cool thing about this is what I'm really trying initially with this launch is I'm going to make all the courses unique, something that you probably haven't seen very often with other courses when it pertains to front-end development, UI, UX, and identity design, like logo design. What I'm doing is each course is focused on one project and therefore a real client. So it's somebody that actually needs this project done, whether it be, you know, maybe one course or one project might be only identity design, another one might be only front-end development, and the other one might only be UI, UX, prototyping of some sort. And maybe one of them will be multiple, or, you know, 2 or 3 of those things, whatever. And so what I'm going to be doing today, because honestly, I didn't plan on going live stream today. I didn't. Basically, today was supposed to be a sponsored video that was going to be uploaded. But the sponsor required another revision this morning. I just don't have enough time. So I was like, what am I going to do? Because I've gone 5 days without uploading, which is way too long for my channel. So I decided, okay, I'll do a live stream. And instead of doing just another UI UX review, which is what my last video was on Friday, I'm going to work on one of those client projects that I'm going to be featuring in a course. And so this particular client project is for this site right here. And it is right here what you see. So universaltuition.co.uk. And this is the site that I'm going to be tasked with redesigning in probably just this landing page and another sub page. For this particular video, I'm going to try to focus just on this hero section up top here. All right, so it's going to be, you know, probably removing this college, I think this is Eton College background, but basically that's what I'm going to be doing for this live stream. You can see how I can approach this. I have not yet worked or even thought about how I would redesign this section of the site. So you're going to see my thought process basically when I approach trying to just make a better version of something that exists already, which is redesigning, right? Or refactoring. So let me give some background here on what this project is. I only had enough time to put the questions and answers in Notepad. So I sent them a little bit of a questionnaire. You're going to see all this in the course. But basically, I had a live Skype or Google Hangouts conversation with this person, and then I sent this questionnaire based on, you know, that conversation. So the company name, of course, Universal Tuition, universaltuition.co.uk. in a few sentences, summarize what your company does. I'm not going to go through all of these, but it's important to know what they do. Basically, they provide higher-end tuition services for school admissions preparation. So what that means basically is they provide tuition services, which is, you know, they're going to help people try to get into colleges, essentially. And so they train, they tutor them, whatever. All right, and so this is what it's all about. What's also pretty impressive about this is they launched in, I don't know how many months ago, like a month or two ago, and like they already made like a bunch of money. So I think they can definitely improve their site, and based on their goals. Another question here that they had that I gave them, I said, what is the goal of the landing page? You know, what action do you want the visitors to take? You know, which page URL do you want them to land on? And they said, what was that, number 5? They said, we want them to go onto our homepage. Now, that's a given. What I meant was, when they're on your homepage, then where do you want them to go? You know, what is the primary call to action? And they clarified, and they said they want them to land on this page right here, which is the enroll and contact page. So obviously, they want people to enroll who are going to their site. But if you notice, if we go back here, there's just a quote from Albert Einstein. Not ideal, because we really want to, as much as possible, both address what the site is about, and I did the 5-second test video last week, I think. They're not doing that here, because you can't just, like, if you go here to universal tuition, having a quote from Albert Einstein is not going to address that question. So that's number one. That's the one thing that we're going to address. Number two, you're not giving them really anywhere to go. You just have this a couple down arrow icons telling them to scroll down, but that's not obvious to everybody. So we're going to improve this, hopefully, in this video. I don't know yet what I'm going to do, but here we go. Let's just go ahead and get started. Let me check the comments out here, but make sure my microphone's still working. Yes, it does. All right. Have I ever learned PHP? Yeah, probably in 1998. I remember. That was fun times. PHP and MySQL, or MySQL, however you ever want to pronounce it. All right. So the first thing, the logo. We need to get the logo. Now, here's what's a pain in the butt. This is a WebP format, and you can't drag WebP into Adobe XD. So I'm going to have to do something very annoying. I'm going to, unless there's a better solution out there, I'm going to just take this. I'm not sure, this isn't even going to work. It might not work, but I'm going to take this into Illustrator, paste it, and then have the image trace on with like 16 colors. We'll see if that works. All right, that's good enough. So now we're going to expand it. Now it's vectorized, and I can get rid of the back. And one problem with their logo is their, let's ungroup these. This is way too close. We need to push that over. Give it some white space. Oh yeah, oops. Kind of screwed up that T there. 1 second. Okay, now we'll push this over. There we go, much better. So now I could probably just copy this and then go back to Adobe XD. Let's reset that and paste this in. Please work, please work. All right, so it's not like a perfect rendition of their logo, but it's actually pretty close. It'll work for our purposes. And also, like if I double click into here, I could probably take all these and change the color up. That's funny, that looks horrible. All right, so nonetheless, let's get started here. I'm just gonna get a, let's just get a background here. Actually, let's just get a container. I actually like the darker background that they had. Let me see here. For the overlay when you scroll down in the nav bar. So let's take this group 1, rename this to logo. We're going to drag it underneath, and we're going to change this to that darkish desaturated blue that they had. All right. One thing I also don't like about this logo, the type here is a little bit too close to each other. So let me get in here. Oops. Let's lock that annoying thing so we can't get the background. All right, so we'll get in here, double click, select. Let's just move this up. There we go. So now we already improved the logo. If you look at their logo, it's really crammed up there next to each other. So we already made one improvement. That's kind of exciting. All right, even though it has nothing to do with the actual UI UX, whatever. So when you're not scrolled up here in the hero section, we can see this was a big problem right here, because the photograph that they're using in the background, the dark clouds right here, they're not dark enough. So the universal being in this reddish orangish color, it's just killing my eyeballs. There's not enough contrast. So that's something we definitely want to fix. The home about, this section is not actually all that bad. Let's go ahead and just come up with a game plan here initially for how we want this to be laid out, for the nav bar at least. All right, so our question is another thing we have to think about, are we going to go with the route of having a photograph background? Because you don't always have to do a photograph, obviously. They said they do like these icons right here, these illustration-based icons. And that's another alternative route we could take. Instead of having a photograph here, we can use some sort of illustration. Ideally, it would be a unique illustration, but I'm not an illustrator. And I obviously don't also have the time to sit here and create this, obviously, for a live stream. But these are pretty cool illustrations right here. I wonder what format these are in. Let me drag into my desktop and see if these are... No, of course, they're WebP again. So anyhow, let's think here. I think maybe just to stick with the theme of a photograph, and I may not keep this. This may just be for the live stream, like our practice or whatever. I may just choose another photograph background, but instead use one that's more effective. It might relate more perhaps to what they're doing, although even though this is a college, maybe we can use a better image that will overall work. So I'm going to go to Unsplash. We can get completely free to use photographs from here. And I'm just going to type in education and see what happens, what turns up, what might actually work out well here. Another thing to keep into consideration is, if they do have preferred color schemes, and I believe they do. So they have a light blue color. Let's go ahead and get these colors onto the actual document somewhere, just so I have them handy. So here's one color. I'm going to copy and paste. They gave hex color codes, so I'm going to copy and paste these. There's a light blue that they like. They also, and I'm not going to have a problem deviating from these. I mean, if I choose to change them up, I'm going to. All right. I like those so far. Those aren't bad. Dark navy blue, the third one. So let's add each of these to the swatches. I think this is actually a pretty good color scheme right here. These three colors seem to work pretty well together. So let's add that, and then we'll add that as well. Okay. All right. Now let's just move these up higher somewhere. All right. So going back to our thing right here, there's some really cool photos that we could possibly use. Like, look at this one. This is sort of cool. Students hate books, though, but it's a part of the process. This is kind of cool. I really like this one. We'll think about that one. Let me just copy this, put it in a new tab, just so that I can keep on looking. You don't want to just choose an image or a photograph right away. This kid wouldn't work. It's like he's way too young. Yellow, if they had like a yellow color scheme or something, this could be possibly a cool background because it would be seamless, really. Looking further, you don't want something that's kind of crazy like this. Like, there's a lot happening in this photo, and if you have the intentions of putting type on top, you would really have to make this really dark. It just wouldn't be a great photo to use for the purpose of a photograph-based watermark background. So, just trying to see if there's something that might work. This is kind of cool because the left side of the image would give you pretty much a flat area for putting type in, like a call to action, but it kind of just looks too old and a little bit bland based on the colors. So there's a lot of cool photographs like this one. a little bit too much happening with all the type on top. So I'll probably just, yeah, don't use this. I'll probably just use that one up there that we had already. This is kind of cool. No. I'm not going to waste my time sitting here too long trying to figure out a good photograph to use. But looking back at this one, I don't know. It depends. Can we get this to work or not? We'll find out. It's also in portrait mode. But these photographs are really large, so we could probably make it work. I'm not sure, though. Now, instead of just typing education, we could do graduate. And again, like I said, somebody said use illustration instead of stock image. I mean, yeah, I don't have time to custom create an illustration. Now there are a bunch of illustrations that you can use that are pre-designed, and there's actually a bunch of libraries. I'm not sure what they are offhand. Some of them are real, like, very overused and they're cheesy. I don't think any of these are going to work well. So like I said, I'm going to stick with just the photograph-based background, just as a means of, even if I don't use it in the course or the actual project, just as a means of showing how to use a more effective background image, essentially. So I'm going to download this. We're just going to give this a shot. All right, and let's see if we can make this work. So I'm going to take this. We're going to unlock that. I will duplicate it. And I'm going to go ahead and, here, let's collapse this logo. I'm going to push this in. We're going to see what happens. All right. Now, unfortunately, this is kind of like a grainy photograph. And also, the grain will even become more so if I enlarge this to be able to push this over, perhaps. This may actually not work very well because of the orientation of it being portrait. I was hoping maybe I could do something like this, which maybe we could. It doesn't necessarily have to take the entire background. We could create like a 2-column situation and create a more modern approach, perhaps. In terms of the layout, I mean. I'm just thinking out loud here. Let's take this one. Let's see. We'll take... There we go. This one. Yeah. Not liking this so far. You know what? Again, I could make a photograph work here, but it's not going to be this photograph. And that's what happens. And that's one of the problems with live streaming, the live process. But that's a good thing, because whatever you try first sometimes doesn't work. It usually doesn't work, your first idea. So you're going to get to see the raw process. This is why a lot of times when I upload a video, I have the project pre-created so that you're not seeing me fumble over myself. But at the same time, it kind of does make sense to do that, just to show, you know, people who are aspiring designers that it doesn't happen perfectly all the time right away, like you would think when you're watching a regular video tutorial. Some people wanted me to try an illustration. Let's try the illustration route. So I'm going to deviate from what I said I was going to do, and we're going to try UI UX illustrations. I think I typed this before, and I was able to find some of yeah. So Undraw is a real popular one. So this Undraw, personally, I don't really like them because I think they're really overused. And for the most part, they're kind of juvenile. They're not. I don't think they would be. These are the type. I don't think these are the type of illustrations you want to use for your hero section. For the most part, based on what I see here. So I'm not going to use undraw. I know patterns is another one. I'm not sure if I've seen ouch. So let's search for an illustration like education. And we could possibly make something here work. See, a lot of these illustration libraries kind of have a certain aesthetic and style to them. They, like this one's a little bit more whimsical, I suppose you could say. So I'm just trying to think what might work here. The books one, this is kind of a cool one right here. It has pretty good detail in it, and it is relevant. So this could possibly work. Can I download this? Wait a second. A low quality PNG. Are you serious? I thought these were going to be free. That sucks. Well, let's look for a free one. I know Patterns is free. Let's see here. Are these... Okay, I guess these are just patterns then, as the name suggests. I'm looking for different illustrations. What's Smash illustrations? This looks like something I'm gonna have to download or something. Free for commercial or personal use. What is this? I don't want to log into anything. Open Doodles. Yeah. Not quite sure I want to use that. Vector Creator. No. Paper illustrations. Those don't, honestly, I don't really like the look of those. Whoosh illustration kit. Something you got to download. What are some good ones that I can use here? Well, I'm not saying everything has to be free. I'm just saying for my context right here, so I don't have to like put in my credit card details or whatever. I'd rather not do that and mess around with buying on a live stream. Free pick. All right. Free pick. Now, a lot of these, I don't know about this. Right. Some of them look pretty decent. This one doesn't look too bad here. This one doesn't look too bad. I'm just opening these up in a new tab based on what I find. This one, if I could edit out the type, that could look pretty cool. I don't see education there, but that looks like a cool one. That looks pretty cool. Get out of there. All right. Again, I may not even use this. I'm probably not going to use these for the actual redesign. Not sure if I like that one. This one will require like taking out the yellow, and then that's probably screw up all the other colors. This one has nothing to do with education, so we'll nix that one. I did try undraw already, didn't I? I think I did. Yeah, I did that. No, we don't want to do that one. This one's a possibility. It's a little bit strange with their faces. But we'll give it a shot. Let's just try downloading this one. Free download. Let's open this zip file up. It's an AI file, so I'm not sure. Can we go AI and Should be able to. Let's go ahead and just drag it. We might not be able to. If that's the case, we'll open it up in Illustrator. Taking too much time to select the image. Well, Raj, as you can see, this is the process of UI UX designing. I mean, this is what it takes. This is the unfiltered. This is the stuff that people don't show normally on a normal YouTube video. It takes time, you know. You're not just gonna knock something out, and you shouldn't rush the process either. Let's see if we can. Well, we'll just leave it as is. We'll go ahead and save this as, and it's gonna go and show my damn full project. Make sure you guys weren't supposed to see something you didn't. Okay, it all looks good. There's no like nude photos of myself or anything, so that's good. So let's go put this, I'll just save this to the desktop. We'll save this as a SVG. People.svg. Hit OK. Okay. Now let's take this background just for now. Well, let's just do this. Let's just push this up. Where the hell did the... Wait, what is happening here? Why is that background not white? Is this a different color? No, this is white, so where's the background at? Uh-oh, something's wrong. I'm being slow, or something's messed up. Why is the background of the artboard that's supposed to be here not white? Why is it white? What's happening here? The fuck? Okay, well, you know what I'll do instead? Here, let's oh, I know why. Because I took the artboard and I shrunk it down instead of the actual graphic. There we go. There we go. I kind of don't like that. Let's do this instead. Well, first we'll take the background of the artboard. Let's give it this color. I might change this. I may not. What I like to do, instead of like just putting a graphic right here, which is kind of boring, sometimes I just like to take these types of these illustrations and maybe make them large and offset them a little bit. I may want to take this background and just make it all white, possibly. That way we could take this and make it white as well. Again, I'm just kind of seeing what I want to do here. And sometimes it helps, like I'm still not sold on this particular illustration. For the purpose of this stream, we'll keep it. And I'm still not sold on the background, and I'm also not sold on whether or not I'm going to use a nav bar like this. But one thing that will help you make those decisions is to get all the content on the board. So that means I'm going to get the headline, a possible sub-headline, and also a call to action, and maybe a secondary call to action. So going back to the original design, their original design is somewhere over here. Well, I'll just type in universaltuition.co.uk. Like they were using a quote here. I'm not a fan of that, from Albert Einstein. We're going to use something else. So we have to come up with, even though it's not our job as UI UX designers, it's not our job to come up with the actual ad copy and the information architecture, as it's called. Although if you are a UXer and you cover that part of the UX process, then yes, we still want to choose something that works well, something that's better than just a quote, and something that addresses what this service is all about. What is this site all about? So I don't have anything in mind right now, but I'm just going to get the type and I'm going to think out loud here. So the type tool rather. So I'm trying to think what could I put for a really solid headline with a few words. Call College acceptance made easy. I don't know. Let's try that out. Let's increase this. Let's make a... We'll go with good old trusty Montserrat here. I'm not sure if I want to use it, but I'm just going to put it there for now. Nunito kind of makes things look... See, now somebody suggested learning made simple, but that's a little bit too broad of a term. I guess if we kept this illustration right here, that would kind of help us. This also helps us understand, or the visitor understand, what the site or the service is about. We see an instructor and we see a student, and it's web-based, and I'm going to assume theirs is web-based as well, and I think it is. And so this is almost like a perfect graphic here. College acceptance made easy. Let's just use that for now. That can always be changed. That's why people use lorem ipsum, of course. We'll replicate that, and we'll go ahead and take this down just to create a typical... just to create a typical sort of sub-headline right here. College acceptance made easy. Let's just paste what they said for their answer. Yeah, we'll just use that, even if it doesn't make sense for now. Right now, I'm just kind of focused more so on the design and the type here. So we can also probably come down here. They said this is their preferred color, so we can use probably something like that. Now we create a nice separation between the two. Or we could do, I thought it's learning made simple. Somebody suggested that. It's fewer words. We could probably make it maybe larger, but not too much larger. Higher end tuition services for school administration's preparation. So the subheadline, typically when we're talking about ad copy or copy, is that it'll be more direct. Learning made simple is a little bit more of an abstract, unique sort of play. So they also suggested, or they also wanted, again, I'm not sure if I want to use this right here. When you take off like a nav bar like that, that's like really distinct with a really distinct background color. Like obviously this is very distinct from white. It's almost black versus white. When you open it up, it really, I don't know, I guess you could say it just opens up the design. You don't feel compartmentalized when you have a nav bar. So I'm not sure if I want to keep this nav bar. Of course, if I don't keep it, then we'll have to change the tuition to a darker color so that we can easily see it. But again, you know, it's one of these options that you can present to a client and see what they like, because ultimately they're the ones who are paying you. So let's go ahead and we'll leave that there for now again, and I'm going to put in, this is the part where it's really important to get a solid call to action here, and maybe a secondary one here as well. So let's just get a button here. By the way, at 10:30 a.m., which is 45 minutes from now, I'm going to see a house that we're interested in possibly purchasing with my wife. Now, we want to use their call to action color, so this works well. It works well with this background up here. They said, let's use their navy blue that they wanted. There we go. So now we're using this blue. That works well. Let's go ahead and take this down. Yeah, I probably am going to remove this bar. But let's just go ahead and finish this button right here. And you always want to use a decent ad copy for your call to action button text. one good question is how wide should a button be, or how big should a button be? Well, I mean, we know it shouldn't be this big, right? We also know it shouldn't be this small. So there's a middle ground somewhere, and this compared to this, not a big difference. It's subjective. So there's a realm of subjectivity in terms of, you know, how big or small something should be. If I take, I'm still not quite happy with these three things, but for now, let's just take this, replicate it, and we'll have a secondary call to action. This is something I see people get wrong all the time as well. They'll have two buttons styled exactly the same. They're call to actions, and you're not prioritizing one or the other. And there always is a prioritization between one or the other, right? There's one page that you want a person to go to more than the other. I hate learn more, but I can't think of anything else right now for ad copy, so that's fine. So what we can do, instead of having these styled exactly the same, we could just make this one less important, and you do that by making it not grab as much attention from the eye. So one way to do that is we could take off this, we can give it a border, then we have to bring this up. Yeah, I don't like that one. Oh yeah, we can use that color. And then the border color here can be this as well. So this is one such way of approaching it. I've seen people also maybe take the border of the button containing it down a lot, which even makes it stick out less. We could also, I've also seen people do it like this. They go like this and they hide and just kind of underline maybe a link right there. So there's a lot of ways you can do a secondary call to action. For now, I'm going to leave it like that. All right, so let's replicate this whole artboard just so I have what I have there, and then I'm going to make some changes. So I'm going to get rid of this. I kind of definitely like this one better as I do that. So we're going to take this. We're going to give this that color right there. Again, this was not a very good job from the image tracing of Illustrator. I just didn't have their SVG version to work with. No big deal though. And sometimes, you know, by the way, you could do this. Instead of having this be very distinct, you could, let me bring this to the bottom. You could make it really subtle, like that, but I don't like that. So I'm just giving you guys options. So now let's go ahead and let's get some type for the navigation. So what is their navigation currently? It is home, about us, how it works, philosophy. All right. We're going to scale this down a bit. So we're at 20. Home, about us. Oh, wait, I don't want that to happen. Left align that. There we go. About us. How it works. Philosophy. Enroll. For us, where I come from, enroll is 2 L's, but they had 1, so I'm not sure, you know, whatever. Enroll in contact. You know, I don't think I would put enroll and contact into the same area. What I'm going to do, because I'll show you guys in a second. I'm going to put enroll. Actually, no. Right here, I'm going to put login. And then I'm going to put enroll right here. Okay, so what they did is they emphasized the call to action as being log in, and that's wrong. You want this part, enroll in contact, or at least enroll, to really stand out. You want enroll to be in this big button right here. So that's what I'm going to do instead. So what we'll do now is we'll take this, push this over. Well, actually, no. Actually, yeah, we'll leave that there. I'm just trying to think of how I can quickly do this. Make this white. Is it? Am I like being slow when it comes to spelling? How do you spell enroll? It's E-N-R-O-L-L, right? Yes. It was looking strange to me because I was used to seeing their version. But again, they might be in a different market, a different country or whatever, where it's spelled differently. I'm just going to leave it like that. All right. So let's get this mixed up here. Position. And sometimes, you know, let me hit play just so we can see it extra large. This is pretty cool. I like this personally. We could also, for instance, this is the home page. We can use maybe this blue. I think the blue is not quite enough contrast. I might want to come a little bit darker like that. I'll add that to the color. There we go. So that's the current page indicator. And there's different ways you can indicate. You can make them bolder, leave them the same color. You can underline them. You can encase them in a sort of button container. There's a lot of ways to go about that. Learning made simple. I'm not sure if I'm happy with that. It's just a little, I don't know, simple, but it could work for sure. Just trying to experiment with the size of things. Positioning. I think the type in the logo would be best to be changed a little bit. I mean, it's real. I mean, it's real serify, if you know what I mean, compared to the rest of the type that I've used here at least. Yeah. So the logo. I like this icon here, but I think the type could be improved. Enroll is the British version. Okay, that makes sense. So we can just change it correctly. There we go. All right, so that versus this, if we go back and forth, it helps to do that sometimes. We could even make like a little down arrow. We can use some icons in the buttons themselves. So if we go, I'm gonna make my own triangle here. And of course I didn't eyeball it correctly. Oh, there we go. Maybe we can use that color. This could be like a scroll to area, perhaps. Group them up. Get that eyeballed there pretty well. Maybe increase the size. Move both of these to center them a little bit better. Just move them over like that, kind of just eyeballing it in the middle. So learn more. And this could be like a smooth scroll down to the next section in the bottom. Enroll today, of course, would take them to the enrollment form. Yeah, so I kind of yeah, kind of like that. And another thing one can do, I mean, I've seen this before as well. Like people would take kind of a container just for the logo itself. So we could take something real light and put it underneath the logo. Okay, that doesn't look good. Hold on. That's still too much contrast, like really light. I've seen people do that. This could even be gray. Almost like a watermark. You could do that, or I've seen people do something like hardcore, make it like this, and then of course we'd have to change the tuition part because we can't see it. But I don't like that. We're gonna remove that. And so I've even seen people do, in order to separate the headline a little bit more. I don't think I want to do this, but you can even do this. I've seen this done. This is done often. Just putting a border. And then just taking the opacity down lightly. So that's, as you can see, I'm just doing this to show you guys different ways to work with a nav bar and a header and a border and all that stuff. And these can be presented to the client. I mean, like having this border right here, which is barely visible, is okay. I would say it's a subjective preference if you wanted to include it or not. This versus that is not that huge of a difference, and it's not going to really affect things or the performance of the site in one way or the other. But yeah, I kind of like this. Probably going to end this here. Of course, this design would be much larger because they have a lot more to design for. They have a lot more content, that is. As you can see, we can scroll down here. We have a lot of stuff here to create and to account for. And they didn't do too bad of a job. And I'm not sure how, I would approach the rest of it. But yeah, ultimately, yeah, I think I'm pretty happy. If we compared, for instance, this, let me get this in play here. Hit play. So like this, it does a few things better in my opinion. It addresses first what the site's about right off the bat, and we do that two ways. That's through the illustration here, where we have this character that's a teacher or an instructor or a tutor who's tutoring a student. We know that right away. And then we also see the fact is, as we're making learning made simple, that might not be the best copy to use. But also in the subheadline, at least, we are saying this is a higher end tuition services for school admissions preparation. They may not want to use that in the end, but nonetheless, we have these two pieces of copy that we can use to really solidify what it is this service is all about. Then finally, we have call to actions here. One primary thing that they want people to do is to enroll, so we give them the option or the access point very quickly, visually, and then the secondary call to action of learn more. So if we compare that with what they had up here, you can see there's a lot of things that just weren't working. You can't really see the logo because of the background. In ours, you can definitely see the logo now. They were also emphasizing the wrong button for call to action in their nav bar. They were emphasizing the login, but you don't want to do that for your landing page. You want to emphasize the enroll. So that's what I did up here. Next up, Eton College. This background, I decided to scrap that and go with the illustration-based route. I think the illustration-based route is kind of like a more whimsical, unique approach than just showing a photograph. And then we got rid of this right here. Just a quote from Albert Einstein, which I don't think is the best usage of this very important part above the fold, so to speak. And so instead we went with this more traditional approach where we're being a little bit more literal and direct about what this service is, so that we can reduce bounce ratio, which is people just leaving the site right away. All right. So awesome. Why do I have enroll on one page? Where is that at? Oh yeah, you're right. That's a tiny, stop being nitpicky. All right. So how long have I been doing this? Because I have to leave real soon. Yeah, we've been at it for about 15 minutes. That's perfect for me. So yeah, hopefully you guys learned a little bit something here about how I approach redesigning, about the way I think about things. Of course, this is going to be a much more elaborate course when this does release at designcourse.com. Of course, I'll put a trailer up for it. I'm actually working on two projects, or two different courses at the same time. This one and also an identity design project, which has gone real well. So of course, I'll keep everybody up to date about that when the time comes to really start marketing. And they're going to be, like $9 per course. That's it. So you can just add each one to your cart. It's not going to be subscription based, at least initially. You guys can just see how I approach working with clients on a more, robust setting rather than my usual YouTube videos. All right. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. I will see you guys real soon. I'm planning on definitely uploading a regular video tomorrow on the YouTube channel, as well as Friday, because this week has been crazy. I haven't been able to upload anything. So I'll see you guys real soon.